So today we are going to discuss assignment 2. Questions are already given and I hope all have submitted the assignment. So this is the first question. I'll give you 5 minutes to go through the question and solve it yourself if you have not solved it. Please go through the question. We have time till 7 p.m. So I hope everyone has gone through the question. So let us solve this. In the circuit given below, you can see there are n current sources connected in parallel corresponding to the nth row. It is given that each current source of row n is carrying current IN. Example, in row 3, each current source carrying I3. Then find the sum of currents I1, I2, so on up to I10. That is, sigma n varies from 1 to 10 IN. Given that I1 is equal to 1 milliampere. So, you have a tree of current sources from row 10 to row 1. In row 10, the current flowing through each current source is I10. So I10 flows through this current source, so on, up to this current source. Similarly, in the next branch, I9 is the current flowing. So next branch it is I8, it goes on until I1. So the value of I1 is given. You are asked to find what is I1 plus I2 plus so on up to I10. I10. Or mathematically, this is same as sigma n varies from 1 to 10 IN. I hope the question is clear. They are not asking what is the total current, they are asking what is I1 plus I2 plus so on up to I10. Now, This is an application problem of Kirchhoff's current law. From Kirchhoff's current law, when you go to the last branch and you consider this node, what will you observe? You see that the currents through this row is I2 each and this current is I1, which means you apply KCL at this node, say A. So when you apply KCL at node A, current incoming is equal to current outgoing. So the currents incoming are I2 plus I2, whereas the current outgoing is I1. That means 2I2 is equal to I1 or I2 is equal to I1 by 2. This is the first observation you are making, which is I2 is equal to I1 by 2. Now let us go to the next node, which is upper node. This is B and these are all our same nodes, B only. When you redraw B to this side, so there are 3 branches of currents incoming. We are not concerned about this node. We just know that 3 currents are coming to the single node B. But from B, 2 branches are going of each current value I2. And this is I3 each. Now, if this is the case, at node B, if you apply Kirchhoff's current law, the incoming currents are same as the outgoing currents. So what are the incoming currents? I3 is incoming, I3 is incoming and another I3 is incoming. These 3 currents are coming to the node. But from the node, 2 I2s are leaving. So this is same as I2 plus I2, which means 3I3 is equal to 2I2. If you go on applying KCL in these branches, when you go move up, you will observe that I1 is equal to 2I2, which we already got, but 2I2 is again equal to 3I3, which will be equal to 4I4. So on it will go until 10I10. That means the currents which are going downwards, this is I10 each, but there are 10 sources. So 10I10 is going downwards. That 10I10 is emerging as I1 here. So I1 can be equated to I2, I3, so on up to I10 using this relation. Is this clear till now? Does anyone have any doubt? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. So now let us write each currents in terms of I1. So I1 is equal to 2 times I2, which means I2 is equal to I1 by 2. Someone's mic is on. Could you please turn it off? Thank you. So we have written I2 in terms of I1. Now, let us write I3 in terms of I1. You know 3I3 is equal to I1, which implies I3 is I1 by 3. Similarly, I4 will be I1 by 4, so on, and I10 will be I1 by 10. Now we are asked to find what is I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 plus so on up till I10. So we can write everything in terms of I1. So this is I1 plus I1 by 2 plus I1 by 3 plus so on plus I1 by 10. Now you can take this I1 outside. Now this becomes I1 into 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus so on plus 1 by 10. This is a finite series. Now I1 you already know. I1 is given in the question. It is 1 milliampere. So this is equal to 1 milliampere times 1 plus 1 by 2 plus so on up to 1 by 10. This value comes out to be 2.929, that much milliampere. So the summation of n equal to 1 to 10 In is 2.929 milliampere, which is option A. So this problem is simple application of Kirchhoff's current law. If there is any doubt in this question, please raise your hand. So I hope there is no doubt to this question. So we'll move to the next question. I want you all to go through the question and try to solve yourself. You have time till 7:19. Okay, so I hope everyone has gone through the question. Let us now solve it. In the given circuit shown below, find the voltage across a capacitor V cap after t equal to 3 nanoseconds. Given that initial voltage across a capacitor is minus 5 volts according to the polarity shown below, and the value of k equal to 3 is. So, we are given a capacitor which is connected to a controlled source or dependent source whose value depends on Ix, where Ix is the current flowing through this 6 ohms. Now we are given that the initial voltage across a capacitor is minus 5 volts, which means in the given polarity it is 5 volts. Now you are asked to find the voltage across a capacitor at t is equal to 3 nanoseconds. Nano means 10 raised to minus 9 seconds. So we are asked to find V cap at t is equal to 3 nanoseconds is the question. For that, you should know what is the value of Ix first, because the value of k is already given as 3. So the value of Ix is the current flowing through the 6 ohm. So let us solve Ix first. So let me redraw the circuit. Now if you see, let this current be I. Now this is your Ix. So we can find Ix in multiple ways, whichever is suitable for you. So I'll be going with current division rule. What is current division rule? If you have two resistances in parallel, say R1 and R2, and you know the current entering, total current entering the branch as I, and the current through R1 is I1 and R2 is I2, then according to current division rule, I1 is given by I times R2 divided by R1 plus R2, and I2 is I times R1 by R1 plus R2. So this is current division rule, which is applicable for resistor as well as an inductor. The current is proportional to the resistance or inductance of the opposite branch. But in the case of capacitance, this current division rule, there is a slight change. For capacitor, for the case of capacitors, so if you have two capacitors in parallel and the total current is I, and current through capacitor C1 is I1 and C2 is I2, then I1 is I times C1 by C1 plus C2. So current division rule for capacitors is, there is a slight difference. So it is directly proportional to the capacitance of the branch. But in the case of resistors as well as inductor, the current through the branch is proportional to the resistance or inductance value of the opposite branch. So current division rule is how I am going to solve this problem. So let this current be I1 and this be I2. Now what is Ix? Ix is I2 times 3 divided by 3 plus 6, because the current entering this branch is I2. Now I have to find Ix. Now Ix is proportional to the resistance of the opposite branch. So Ix is I2 times 3 divided by 3 plus 6, which is 3I2 by 9 or I2 by 3. So if I know I2, I can solve Ix. Now what is I2? I2 is a branch, so current through this branch. So if I redraw this, 10 volt. Now 5 ohm is in series with 5 ohm. So I can replace it with 10 ohm. Now this current goes through 8 ohm and to a parallel branch of 6 and 3. Now 6 is parallel with 3 ohms. So the equivalent resistance will be 6 times 3 by 6 plus 3, which comes out to be 18 by 9 or 2. So I can replace 6 and 3 in parallel with 2. Now 8 ohm is in series with 2 ohm. So I can replace this whole by 8 plus 2, 10 ohm. So I have a current I, it divides it into two parts. Now 10 ohm is in parallel with 10 ohm. So the equivalent resistance will be half of the individual resistor. So 10 ohm in parallel with 10 ohm gives you 5 ohms. So this is the simplified version. Now you can solve for I, which is voltage by resistor. So this is 2 ampere. So voltage is in volts and resistance is in ohms. So it is 2 ampere. So now I got I. Now what is I2? I2 was the current through this branch, right? This is I1 and this is I2 and this was 10 and this was 10. So according to current division rule, I2 is I times opposite branch resistor by sum of resistances, which is basically I by 2. So I got I. So I2 is 2 by 2, which is 1 ampere. So I got I2 means my Ix is I2 by 3. So Ix is I2 by 3 or 1 by 3 ampere. So I got my Ix in the given question, which is 1 by 3 ampere. If I got Ix, I can now substitute in this circuit. Now my K is 3 and Ix is 1 by 3. So K into Ix becomes 3 times 1 by 3 or 1 ampere. So I can redraw my capacitance circuit as 3 ampere current source connected with across this capacitor, which is plus minus V cap. So now my V cap as a function of T. So if you are given a capacitor, then and you know the direction of current I, the point where the current enters will have positive polarity and the point where the current leaves from the capacitor has a negative polarity, and this is my capacitor voltage Vc of t. This both Vc of t and I are functions of time. If this is the case, then Vc of t can be expressed as 1 by c integral minus infinity to t Ic of t dt. This is the general expression of voltage across a capacitor when a current Ic of t flows through it as a function of time. So this is the general expression of the capacitor voltage. Now let us split the integrals. So this is 1 by c integral minus infinity to 0 Ic of t dt plus 1 by c integral 0 to t Ic of t dt. So this is the expression of capacitor voltage. Now this part is your initial voltage, which is Vc of 0 minus. So this constitutes your initial voltage of the system. Now this is already given. This is minus 5 plus 1 by c integral 0 to t Ic of t dt. So this is the capacitor voltage expression. It is already, this is nothing but V cap of t. So your current is entering this side, which is positive. That is why this becomes the general expression of your capacitor voltage in the given question. Now, let us substitute the values. C is capacitance value is 1 nanofarad. So, Vc of t becomes minus 5 plus 1 by 1 nanofarad integral 0 to t. Now Ic of t, what is Ic of t? Ic of t is the capacitor current, which you already know as 3 ampere. So 3 dt. Now you are asked to find the capacitor voltage at t equal to 3 nanoseconds, right? So this becomes minus 5 plus 1 by 1 into 10 raised to minus 9 times 3. Now integral dt from 0 to t is t. Now this t is nothing but 3 nanoseconds. So 3 into 10 raised to minus 9. I made a mistake which no one showed me. The current value is not 3. The current value is 1. Am I right? KIX is 1 ampere. But when I redrawed it, I made it 3 ampere. It is wrong. It is 1 ampere. So in the integral, it becomes 1 dt. So here also it is 1. So this becomes 10 raised to 9 and 10 raised to 9 gets cancelled off, or minus 5 plus 3 or minus 2 volts. So the voltage across the capacitor at 3 nanoseconds is minus 2 volts. Is there any doubt in this question? If there is, please raise your hands. Does anyone have any doubt? Okay, so then we'll move on to the next question. Please go through this question. You have time till 7:34. So hope you have gone through the question. Let's say you are in your college lab and you are given a voltage controlled voltage source and its internal circuit is shown below. Here you can vary K from -1 to 0.8. Also you have three resistors R equal to 1 ohm, 10 ohm and 100 ohms with you. Now choose any one resistor and K value between the given range so that the equivalent resistance between port 1 and 2 becomes maximum. Note that you can connect one resistor and wire between port 3, 4 and 5, 6. The values of R and K respectively are. So you are given a voltage controlled voltage source. That means what? This is a voltage source, but its value of voltage is depending upon the voltage of another circuit. That is why it is called a voltage controlled voltage source. Now, its internal circuit is shown below. So this is the circuit of your VCVS. Now the value of K can be any value between -1 and 0.8. And the value of resistor R. You have three resistors whose values belong to set 1 ohm, 10 ohm and 100 ohm. Now you can connect these resistances between 3 and 5 or 4 and 6. You should select any one resistor and short the other two. So let's say I'm shorting 4 and 6 and I'm connecting a resistor between 3 and 5, or the other way, it doesn't make any difference. So if it is like this, you have to choose the value of this R and you have to choose the value of this K such that the equivalent resistance between port 1 and 2, that means if you connect a voltage source here and send some current I, V by I should be maximum. Or in other words, the R equivalent, the value of resistor which you see across this point, which is R equivalent, should be maximum. So what is the value of this R as well as K is the question. I hope everyone understood the question. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So now you have the circuit. I will redraw the circuit. So this is your 3 and 4. This is your 1 and 2. So between 3 and 5, I am connecting a resistor, and 4 and 6 I am shorting. And this is our VCVS, which is K times Vx. Okay. Now, to find the resistor, I am connecting a voltage source and the circuit will draw a current I. So the equivalent resistance between 1 and 2 is nothing but V by I. So you have to maximize V by I. Now if I send this current I, since this 5 and 6 are open, no current will enter through this path, the node 5. So the whole I will flow through this source. Am I right? Now this is R. So if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, if I apply Kirchhoff's voltage law in this loop, I can write V is equal to IR plus KVX. Now, what is Vx? Vx is nothing but the potential difference across 3 and 4. That is nothing but V. So the applied voltage V is same as Vx. So we can rewrite this as V is equal to IR plus K into V. So I can bring V terms together. So V into 1 minus K is equal to I into R, or V by I is equal to R by 1 minus K. This V by I is nothing but the R equivalent across 1 and 2. So this is R by 1 minus K. Now you have K, a value anywhere between -1 and 0.8. And also R is a value which has either 1 ohm or 10 ohm or 100 ohm. So you want this resistance to be maximum. So you have a fraction A by B and you want that fraction to be maximum. That means A should be maximum and B should be minimum. Am I right? Is there any doubt in this? So in our case, for R equivalent to be maximum, the numerator should be maximum. Now the maximum value of numerator, the maximum value which R can take is 100 ohms. And the denominator should be minimum. That means 1 minus K should be minimum. Now 1 minus some quantity should be minimum means the value of that quantity should be maximum. That means you have K varying from -1 to 0.8. You can substitute and see. What is 1 minus lowest value of K is -1. This is 2. 1 minus highest value of K is 0.2. So 1 minus K is minimum when K is having the maximum value. So the value which results in maximum internal resistance for K is 0.8. So K is equal to 0.8 and R is equal to 100 ohm is the answer. So which is option A. Is this clear? Is there any doubt? Please raise your hand if you have any doubts. So let us go to the next question. You have time till 7:47 to solve this. So I hope everyone went through the question. So the question is, calculate the effective resistance of the below infinite ladder question across terminals A and B. So whenever infinite ladder question comes, there is a similar starting step which you should take, which will help you to solve the question very easily. So you have an infinite ladder, which means this portion which is R in connected to an XR, that branch will continue to infinity. So for every infinite ladder question, you should first identify the smallest repeating block. So you should identify the smallest repeating block. So in this case, it is this portion. This R and XR, this keeps on repeating. So if I redraw this, I have R and then XR. Now, since this keeps on repeating, the equivalent resistance which we want to find is the resistance which you see across AB. Now, since it is going till infinity, we can assume that that is the same effective resistance which we will see when this branch is not there also. So, in the absence of this branch also, you are seeing the same R equivalent. So, since you are seeing the same R equivalent through here as well as here, I can just replace the repeating part with the same R equivalent. So this is the most crucial step in an infinite ladder problem. Is my screen visible to all? Can somebody respond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the most crucial step in an infinite ladder problem. So you identify the smallest repeating branch, you draw that branch, and then you add the equivalent resistance to it. So now the circuit became a simple circuit. So now R equivalent is the equivalent resistance which you see when you look from this side. So I can write R equivalent as R plus, so this R plus parallel combination of XR and R equivalent. So our life becomes simple. So R equivalent is R plus parallel combination of XR and R equivalent is XR times R equivalent divided by XR plus R equivalent. So the second step in the infinite ladder is replace the infinite ladder with R equivalent or with a resistor whose value is R equivalent along with the smallest repeating block. So now let us solve this equation. So R equivalent is equal to R plus. Now X is given. The value of X is 3. So this becomes 3R R equivalent divided by 3r plus r equivalent. So you just take it to this side and common denominator r equivalent is r times 3r plus r equivalent plus 3r r equivalent the whole divided by 3r plus r equivalent. Now let us take this to LHS. So 3r r equivalent plus r equivalent square becomes 3r square plus 3r r equivalent plus 3r r equivalent. Now 3r r equivalent comes in both sides, so you can cancel this off. So now our equation becomes r equivalent square minus r equivalent minus 3r square. So this is an algebraic equation which is of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. This x just represents a variable, not the x which is given in the question. So this is the general expression of a quadratic equation. Now the solution of a quadratic equation is given by x equal to plus or minus, s equal to b minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a. This is the solution of a quadratic equation which will have two equations or two solutions, one with plus sign and other with minus sign. So solution of a general quadratic equation is given by minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a. So in the given question, if you relate these two equations, your x or the variable is r equivalent. A is the coefficient is 1 because 1 is the coefficient of r equivalent square. B is the coefficient of x. So x is r equivalent. So coefficient of r equivalent is minus r. Now C is the constant. So this is minus 3r square. So you got A, B and C. You just substitute in the solution equation. So you will get r equivalent as minus b, which is r. Minus of minus r is r, plus or minus under root b square is minus r the whole square, minus 4 times a times minus 3r square divided by 2a. A is again 1. So this becomes r plus or minus under root r square plus 12r square the whole divided by 2. Now this becomes r plus or minus under root 13r square the whole divided by 2. So this is under root r square is r. So you can take r outside, 1 plus or minus under root 13 by 2. So r equivalent can have two solutions. One is r into 1 plus under root 13 by 2, or r equivalent can be r into 1 minus under root 13 the whole by 2. Now this value comes out to be negative. This value comes out to be negative. So resistance value cannot be negative. So this is not the solution. So the solution is r into 1 plus under root 13 the whole divided by 2. Now this comes out to be 1 plus under root 13 the whole divided by 2 comes out to be 2.3. So this is 2.3 r. So the answer is 2.3 rb. Is there any doubt to this question? Please raise your hand.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, ask me.
So, ma'am, whatever the problem you have solved now, with the videos that you have uploaded for this assignment, we don't have any clue to solve such type of problems. If you are asking such problems directly, means how can we solve in the assignments now?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Ma'am, the videos uploaded to this assignment,
So yeah,
that videos were not at all related to such type of problems, no, ma'am.
okay.
Then if you are giving such problems in the assignment, means how could we solve such problems, ma'am? Actually, I don't know about others. In every assignment, it is like that only. The problems which you solve in the sessions, we feel like it is very easy. But when we go to the quiz questions, we feel very difficult, ma'am. Like what are the answers we get that won't be in that options only. Like in our problem solving sessions, the problems will be where like looks very simple, but in business question problems, it is not like that, ma'am.
Okay. So I hope there is a feedback form which is submitted, which is
Yeah, I have
given to.
submitted the feedback also, ma'am. Uh,
Okay.
like, see, this problem, how it is complicated, like, we are not, I mean, I don't know about others, but I'm not able to follow you. Such complicated problems, if you want to solve on our own means, it will be difficult to me, ma'am.
Okay, so you are
I
saying
don't know about
whichever
others'
questions we
opinions,
previously solved in the whichever questions which we
sessions.
previously solved in the problem solving session has is not in par with the assignment questions is your
Ah,
query, right?
in the assignment problems, like, it's more difficult, ma'am.
Okay. So I have understood your concern. So I'll discuss with other
Um,
TAs and we'll make sure that from next assignment onwards, the problem solving sessions which happens before your submission will involve problems which is similar to the assignment questions.
Yeah, ma'am, it will be very helpful, ma'am. Like because as most of them are working, and we will be not getting more time to spend on this. But still, we are struggling like to solve. But we are not able to get good marks in the quiz questions, ma'am.
So I will take your query into consideration and we'll make sure that from next time onwards, you will not have to um, worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. I don't mind. I don't know whether it's right or not to act like this.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
So we'll move on to the next question. Kindly go through the question. You have time till 8:02. Someone's mic is on. Could you please kindly turn it off? Okay. Okay. So I hope everyone have gone through the question. Determine the current I in the below circuit. Consider R1 equal to 8 kilo ohms, R2 12 kilo ohms, and R3 5 kilo ohms. So you are asked to find this current I. Now you have a dependent voltage source in the circuit, which is a voltage controlled voltage source because its value depends upon the voltage, another voltage in the circuit. So this is a pretty simple question, I think, for most of you, which have solved similar kind of questions. Now, when reference is not given, as I've explained in previous classes, you have the liberty to choose any one point as your reference node. So reference node means the voltage at that node is 0. Now, you can solve this using Kirchhoff's current law, or you can generally solve it from the circuit itself. So let me illustrate how you can solve it from the circuit itself. So you have already assigned a reference node which is 0 volt. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry for that. So let us solve it from the circuit itself. So you have this point as a reference node which is 0 volt. There is a potential rise of 12 volts. So the polarity of your voltage source is plus minus. That means from 0 volt there is a potential rise at this point. So this potential at this node is also 12 volt. Now this node is same as this node. That means the potential at this node is also 12 volt. That is how you reach this node voltage as same as 12 volts. So now you have a resistor R1 which is, so I will redraw the circuit, is 12 volts. So you have grounded this point, so your node potential became 12 volt. So you have 8 kilo ohm here and 12 kilo ohm here. So if you look at this both resistances, the potential drop across this resistance is 12 ohm. That means this is a combination of 8 and 12 in series, which is 20 kilo ohm. So across 20 kilo ohm, the voltage is 12 volts with higher polarity at the top. So the current through this 20 ohm will be in this direction, and the value is given by 12 by 20k. That is 12 divided by 20 comes out to be 0.6 milliampere. So the current through this branch in this given direction, because this is ground volt and this is positive 12 volt. Current always flows from higher potential to lower potential. So the current direction is this, whose value is 0.6 milliampere. This much you got. Now if the current is 0.6 milliampere, let us find out what is Vx. Vx is nothing but the voltage drop across 12 kilo ohm. So 0.6 milliampere flows through 12 kilo ohm. So the potential Vx is nothing but 0.6 milliampere times 12 kilo ohm. So milli is 10 raised to minus 3 and kilo is 10 raised to 3. So that will cancel off with each other. So we are ended up with 0.6 times 12, which is nothing but 7.2 volts. Because this milli and kilo gets cancelled out, ampere times ohm is volts. So you got your Vx. Vx is nothing but 7.2 volts. So if you got Vx, you can also get the value of this potential source, which is 5 times 7.2 or 36 volts. So this much you got. Now R3 is given as 5 kilo ohm. If you consider R3, I will redraw it, 5 kilo ohm. The potential at this point is 12 and the potential at this point is 36 volts, because you see there is a potential voltage source of 36 volts and this point is grounded. So this point is grounded means the potential at this point is 0 volts. So if this is 0 volts, then there is a potential rise of 36 volts because the value of the voltage source is 36. So across this 5 kilo ohm, there is a 12 volts here and 36 volts here. That means current will always flows from positive potential to negative or higher potential to lower potential. That means the positive current will flow in this direction, let it be I2, and the value of I2 is nothing but the potential difference across the resistor by the resistance value. So I2 is 36 minus 12 divided by 5 kilo ohm. Is this clear till now? If there is any doubt, you should stop me then and there itself and ask. So I2 is 36 minus 12 whole divided by 5. That much milliampere. So I2 is 4.8 milliampere in this direction. So I have my I2 in this direction, which is 4.8 milliampere. Now you can apply Kirchhoff's current law at this node. So you have a node, current I is like this, 0.6 milliampere is like this, and here it is 4.8 milliampere. So if you apply KCL, incoming currents is equal to outgoing currents. Now incoming currents are I plus 4.8 and outgoing current is 0.6, which makes your I as 0.6 minus 4.8, or it is minus 4.2 milliampere, which is not there in the option. So there is a mistake in the options. The answer is minus 4.2 milliampere. Is this clear? You can opt for Kirchhoff's, you can apply your own method, you can solve KVL equations, you can assume two meshes and solve for KVL equations, or you can directly write node equations from here. Anyways, whatever ways you do, I just illustrated one method from the circuit itself. You will end up with the answer of minus 4.2 milliampere. If there is any doubt, please raise your hands.
Excuse me, ma'am. One doubt is another question, ma'am. Mesh analysis and matrix form and details, ma'am. I1, I2, find out and explain, please.
I didn't understand your question.
Question, ma'am. Matrix form, that is the R11, R12, R13, and something R31, R32, R23, and matrix form and I1, I2, I3 and equal to V1, V2, V3, and given that the V1 and V2 and V3 and R1, R2, and given that, and find out the I1 and I2, I3.
Are you talking about Kramer's matrix?
Yes, ma'am. Matrix form.
You mean you can write V1 as I1 R1 plus I2 R2 and V2 as I1 R3 plus I2 R4, and you can write it as V1 V2. Is this what you mean?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And then R1, R2, R3.
So what you want to know, how to write this equation or how to write this equation itself?
And finally, find out the current, ma'am. Current and equation and write, matlab R1, R2 and given that. And V1, V2 is given. And find out the I1, I2.
That means current I is this R matrix inverse times V. How to find inverse you are asking?
No, ma'am. V is equal to IR. Yeah, I is equal to V by R.
V by R means R inverse into V. Yes. So what is the question?
Question, ma'am.
See, who
Mesh
taught this
analysis.
method? A sir or any TA? This method is followed by professor or any other TA?
Okay, ma'am.
No, I'm asking you which this method you are having doubt. Who solves this method using matrix? Is it professor or any student?
Okay, ma'am.
No, actually, I didn't understand your question. Is it part of a assignment question?
Assignment 5,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Actually, it in the assignment part, they have not asked this 2 class 2. They have asked 4 class 4, 5 class 5. We are not able. I'm not able to solve that 5 class 5, ma'am. In the assignment, there was a question we have to solve for that 5 class 5. In that, we need to find I1, I2, I3, I like that, ma'am.
Which assignment number you are talking about?
Last week, I guess, ma'am. Last week, I think.
So is the
There was
deadline
a,
over for that assignment?
yes, ma'am. It's finished. It's got over, ma'am.
So the
In
assignment questions which
calculator
I am
also,
yeah.
yeah. In calculator also, we don't have an option like to solve that 5 class 5 and all. Like we face the difficulty there
Like you
also.
are facing a difficulty to find the inverse of a 5 by 5 matrix.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. 5 by 5, 4 by 4 was also there, ma'am.
Okay. So there are some shortcuts to solve 5 cross 5 and 4 cross 4 matrices, which
But
I
we
am
have not got,
yeah.
got any clue for that, ma'am, in the videos and also in the session.
So in the class, till how much size metrics are taken?
They have taken 3 classes in that. In that also they don't show us to solve for that matrix one. They gave answers directly there, ma'am. Like I1 equals some value, I2 equals some value. Like they have
Okay,
not
so
shown the steps also.
you have 4 unknown i's and you have to solve. There you have 4 equations you are asked to solve.
Uh, they have asked to find some voltages or some currents like that. I didn't remember the question exactly, but we got such problems, ma'am, in assignments.
Okay.
That's okay. Continue the class, ma'am. Why we just
Yeah, okay.
wasting
So
my
this
time
4
here.
by 4 matrices and 5 by 5 matrices, if it is coming in any assignment, I will ask the Friday's TA to discuss it because today's questions doesn't have this matrices. So this Friday you are having class, so I will request the TA to take the questions relating to 4 by 4 and 5 by 5 matrices. Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So this is the next question. Kindly go through this question. We have time till 8:16. Okay. So the question is, find the potential between the two terminals A and B in volts when I in is 150 sin 5t milliamps and C is 2 millifarad. All the capacitors are uncharged initially. So you are asked to find the potential across A and B. So I can redraw the circuit as I in so this is A and this is B. Now the question is, what is VAB? Now VAB, between A and B, you have two capacitors in parallel. So when capacitors are in parallel, the equivalent capacitance will be the sum of the individual capacitances. So this becomes C plus C or 2C. So now we are asked to find the capacitance across 2C capacitor. Now as I have discussed in the previous question, the voltage across a capacitor Vc of t at any time t is 1 by C integral minus infinity to t Ic of t dt. Now since all the capacitors are uncharged initially, there is no initial voltage stored in the capacitor. So this is 1 by C integral 0 to t Ic of t dt. So what is Ic of t in our case? Ic of t is the current through this branch. Let it be I1 of t. So you have voltage across AB at any time t is 1 by the capacitance. Capacitance is here 2C. So 2C integral 0 to t I1 of t dt. Is there any doubt till here? Okay. So now if I again redraw the circuit, you have here I in, there is 2C, there is another 2C, this is A, this is B, and there is another capacitor which is 2C. Now you have 2C, this 2C and this 2C are in series. So when capacitors are in series, the equivalent resistance is the product of the capacitance divided by their sum. So when 2C is in series with 2C, the equivalent capacitance is C. So this becomes 2C, this is C. They are connected in to a current source of I in. Now let us, so this current, we had already named this current as I1. That is a current which is flowing through this branch I1 of t, which is nothing but the same current flowing here because they are in series. Now let this current be I2 of t. So you have a current source I in which is connected to a parallel combination of capacitances. One is C, other is 2C. The current through capacitor C is I1 and that to 2C is I2. Now let us go back to the current division rule which I have already explained before. Now in the case of capacitances, the current is directly proportional to its own capacitance. So I1 of t is I in times C divided by C plus 2C. Also I2 of t is I in multiplied by 2C divided by C plus 2C, which gives our I1 of t I in by 3 and I2 of t I in into 2 by 3. Is this clear till now? So from this we got what is the current through our capacitance 2C. So this is our capacitance of interest. That current I1 we already obtained. So we have a capacitor of value 2C between A and B, and the current through this is I1 of t. So this gives our VAB as 1 by 2C integral 0 to t I1 of t dt. Now I1 of t is nothing but I in by 3, which we already obtained. Now I in is given in the question. This 150 sine 5t milliampere. So I in is 150 sine 5t divided by 3, that much milliampere. So this becomes 50 sine 5t milliampere. So you got your I1 of t. You just have to substitute in this. So your VAB of t is 1 by 2c integral 0 to t. I1 of t is 50 sine 5t dt. Now you can take this 50 outside. So this becomes 50 by 2c integral 0 to t sine 5t dt. Integral sign is minus cos. So this becomes 50 by 2c minus cos 5t by 5 0 to t. So this becomes 25 by c minus cos 5t by 5 minus of minus, which becomes plus cos 0 is 1 by 5. So I can take this 5 outside. So this becomes 25 by 5, which is 5. So 5 by c 1 minus cos 5t. Now the c is given in the question. The value of c is 2 millifarad. So this is 5 by 2, 1 minus cos 5t. Now this milli gets cancelled because the c is in milli. This current is also in milli. So milli gets cancelled. So finally it is volts. So the answer is 2.5 into 1 minus cos 5t volts, which is not there in the option, but this is the answer. It is not minus 5 cos 5t. Your integration is from 0 to t. So this option is wrong. The answer is 2.5 into 1 minus cos t. If there is any doubt, please ask. So I hope there is no doubts. Then move on to the next question. Please go through the question. You have time till 8:27, 2 minutes. So let us go to the next question. In the diagram given above, length of AB is 4 meter, BC is 1 meter, CD is 3 meter. Also from A to B, resistance varying as a function R of R is equal to R naught R. So the length of AB is 4, BC is 1 and CD is 3. The resistance from A to B is varying as a function R of R is equal to R naught R. Also from C to D, resistance varying as a function R of R is equal to R naught R square, where R is a distance from A, which is given. Also given RBC is 2 ohm. Now find the resistance between A and D. So you have 3 points or 3 sections. From A to B, the resistance varies as a function R naught R. From B to C, the resistance for BC resistance value is 2 ohm. From C to D, the resistance varies as a function of R naught into R square. So if you draw the graph, of distance R and the resistance as a function of R, this is 0, this is B, which is 4. Then this is 5, which is C, and D, which is 8. From 0 to B, the resistance is not constant. It is a function like this. But from B to C, it is fixed at 2. And from C to D, it is a parabola. Now, you are asked to find what is RAD. Now, RAD, these 3 segments are connected in series, which means RAD is RAB plus RBC plus RCD. Now, if you take out RBC, the value of RBC is directly given as 2 ohm. But the value of RAB and RCD is not a fixed value. It varies from point to point. That means if you take RAB, at this point, the resistance is one value. But at this point, the resistance is another value. So when you want to find the resistance from A to B, you have to add each of these resistances values, which is nothing but summation. Or since it is a continuous function, we have to do integration. So RAB is nothing but integral A to B, the variation of R, which is R0 into R dr. So this is nothing but A is 0, the point B is 4, R0 is 2 times R dr. So from 0 to 4, 2 you take outside, R dr is R square by 2. So this is R square by 2 in the interval 0 to 4. This comes out to be 16 ohms. Now RBC is fixed at 2 ohm. This is 2 ohm, already given. Now RCD, similarly, from C to D, at each segment, the resistance is different. So you have to find the summation. So from C to D, the integral is from C to D, R0, R square dr. Now C is 4 plus 1, 5. And D is the whole length, which is 8. So 5 to 8, R0 I take it outside, R square dr. Now R0 is 2. R square dr is R cube by 3 from 5 to 8. Now this comes out to be 258 ohms. So the total resistance from C to D becomes 16 plus 2 plus 258, which is nothing but 276 ohms, which is this. Is this clear? If there is any doubt, please ask. Someone's mic is off. Could you please turn it off? Let us move on to the next question. Please go through the question. You have time till 8:35. Find the ratio of V out and V in the circuit given above. So you are given a circuit. They are not connected. So you are asked to find V out by V in. Now let us find the relations which connects between these two. So already the grounds are given, so you cannot give any reference node. Already it is given in the circuit. Let us assume that this potential is VA. So VA is not equal to V1, should be aware of that. VA is just a node voltage which I am giving. Now V1, if you draw the circuit, you have a ground V1, this point plus minus V1, sorry, this is V in, and this potential is VA. Now Sorry for the interruption. So now V1 is a potential difference of this point and this point, right? So V1 is if this node is B and this is VB, this is VA, then VB minus VA is your V1, right? If that is the case, you already know this point is grounded, which is 0 volts. There is a potential rise of V in. So this node potential, or in other words, VB is equal to V in. Or I can replace this VB with V in. So this point is V in. And this point, which I am assumed as VA. So V1 is nothing but V in minus VA. This is our first equation. Now what is VA? VA is the what is VA? VA is the potential drop across this resistor RS. So this resistor RS, one point is grounded, which is at 0 volt, and the other point potential is VA. So if you know what is the current through this resistor RS, you can find VA. Now what is the current through this resistor? You see GMV1, this current source, current will flow only through RS because this point is open circuited. There is an open circuit here. So there will be no current flowing through this path. So in this node, the whole current GMV1 will flow through RS. That means through RS, the current flowing is GMV1. That means what is your VA? VA is nothing but GMV1 times RS. That means our V1, which was V in minus VA, becomes V in minus GMV1 times RS. So if I take V1 common, V1 into 1 plus GM into RS will be V in, or V1 is V in divided by 1 plus GM into RS. So this is our first equation. Now we got a relationship between V1 and V in. Now if we can get a relationship between V1 and V out, then we can connect these two. Now for that we'll make use of this resistor RD. Now if you take RD, one point is grounded and the other point is V out. Now if you can get the current through RD, then just multiply that current with RD, you will get V out. So you already know the current through RD from this given circuit itself. So if you observe, GMV1 is nothing but the current through RD, but it is in this direction. That means with a resistor, I have explained before, if you have a resistor and you have a current, the point where the current enters the resistor will have positive polarity or will be at the higher polarity. That means this resistor, the current GMV1 is flowing. That means plus is here and minus is here. That means this is plus minus V, let it be V. Now this current is GMV1. So your V is nothing but GMV1 times RD. But this V is opposite polarity with V out. So this is nothing but minus V out, which gives our V out as minus GMV1 times RD. So this is our second equation. So you got two equations. One is V1 is V in divided by 1 plus GMRS. And the next is V out is equal to minus GMV1 RD. So from this you write V1. So V1 is V out by GMRD with a negative sign. So you have 2. Now equation 1 and 2 has the same LHS. So if you equate the RHS, V in by 1 plus GM RS is equal to minus V out by GM RD, which will give V out by V in as, so you just cross multiply, minus GM RD divided by 1 plus GM RS. So which is option A. So you just solve the voltage across both these resistances, you will get the equation of which connects V out and V in. Is there any doubt in this question? Okay. So by this we come to the end of today's session. We'll meet next Tuesday. The Friday's class will be a continuation of this class by another TA. Thank you.